Have I got time before the half past to do Moondogs?
You certainly have. Down to 3:30 then.
So the reason I want to do Moondogs is we played Moondogs here in Shetland last year. Big screen feature debut of Philip John. And the film basically follows a road trip, well, a water trip, going from Shetland to Glasgow. And so it starts up in Shetland, which is one of the reasons why we played it here. Jack Parry and Christy O'Donnell, their stepbrothers, Michael and Thor, living together in Shetland. And Michael's girlfriend has gone to Glasgow, where she seems to be finding independence when she's at university, to which he hasn't gone. His brother wants to meet the mother who abandoned him as a baby. So they decide that actually what they're going to do, they gate crash a wedding in Orkney, and they team up with this sort of renegade waitress, Caitlin, played by Tara Lee, and together they head off on this kind of what would be described as a voyage of reckless discovery. And the film, it's a strange affair. It is, on the one hand, kind of raggedy. It has a very sort of ragtag feel about it. It's I think funding comes from various places, Welsh, Scottish, Irish funding, which kind of gives you a sense of all the different elements that have come into it. But what makes it work is that there are really, firstly, the performances are vibrant and engaging. And secondly, there is some spectacular scenery. We also there's flashes of Up Heliar as well, which is this festival here in Shetland, which if anybody comes to Shetland, you have to go along and see. And it's interesting that when it played in the festival circuit at first, it got very, very good responses, with people particularly talking about the way in which the performances were engaging. That these were people that people didn't know, hadn't got sort of they weren't already sort of box office stars, for example, and yet their performances were really engaging, and you really felt that, okay, I can invest in these characters because they're so well played. The score is by Anton Newcombe of the Brian Jonestown Massacre, which reminds me that I must remind everybody who hasn't seen Ondi Timoner's Dig to get it out on DVD. It was re-released in an extended... Have you seen Dig, the documentary Dig?
I haven't seen Dig, the documentary Dig.
Okay, which is a documentary about Brian Jonestown Massacre and the Dandy Warhols, which is one of the most brilliant but also completely unhinged rock documentaries ever made. But as I said, in the case of Moondogs, we played it here at the festival, and it went down very, very well. And I accept, obviously, one of the reasons that it went down very well is that there was a very strong Shetland connection, but also I think it was that the audience were won over by it. They were won over by, for whatever faults it has, and it is a bit raggedy and it is a little bit sort of rough around the edges. Those performances are vibrant enough that what happens is you end up buying into the characters and caring about the characters enough that it sweeps you along, and you do get kind of caught up in the reckless energy of the journey of the film.